My name is Salam Ahmad. I am from Syria. I born in Afrin, it's a Kurdish region, in 1970. My profession is teaching philosophy, but I still draw since I was 6 years old. I make a lot of paintings and I make a lot of exhibition inside Syria and outside before the war. I was also in Aleppo working as an expert in the Museum of Modern Art for 3 years also. And it was volunteer, without money. I just do that for my country. So I restore about 24 paintings for Syrian artists and artists from Italian, from French. Yeah, as I remember that, yes. The nature, listen to the voices and look to the animals. Everything was come inside my memory. And when I was 6 years old, I used the pencil just to draw. So I discovered that I can draw. One day, there is our teachers. They asked to make paintings to put it in a child art fair. So I draw Aleppo's castle, and it was. Till now I remember it's a very beautiful work. The teacher, as he say, so he said I will put it in this kind of art fair. And unfortunately, he put his name on it. So I was so sad when I see what he do. But that time I couldn't say anything because it was the teacher is like the God to the students. He can do anything to them. So I just was upset and sad what he did. That's all. I was in Aleppo in a street. I was living in a street called Al-Ashrafiyya with the family. And as you know, 2011, it's begin the problem in Syria. 6 months later, the resistance and the fighters come inside Aleppo, and our street is very close to them. So we become between the government's army and the fighters in the middle. And they throw the bombs and the guns. You can hear the voices. My kids couldn't sleeping. Every day they scream, and they are so scared. I don't know what should I do to them because we have no place again, another place to live. But when the war became very close to us, I feel there is a so dangerous situation. So I told my wife we have to move. And I take the family to my sister's house, I think 2 days in her house. And when I back to check the house, everything was fall down. I was happy that the family was not there. What made me so sad that I have 100 paintings in my studio because I draw in my house. Everything was fall down. So we moved from Afrin to Turkey. It was winter and it was so cold weather. It was snow, but we have no chance. So I take the kids and my wife, some bags in the mountains it was snow, and the kids was just shake. I take them to the border, and we even know what will be happened. There is a guy, he take us because he know where is the bombs. They put the bombs on the border. So he say you have to be careful because any step will make the whole family died. So we have to be very careful. And it's a really terrible time and dangerous time because I was just hold my kids, Rodi and Russell, and my wife, she hold the bags, and we passed the border. When we passed the border, just the Turkish army come. I don't know from where. Just they put the gun in my head and told me that you have to back. So my kids was crying, my wife, and I was desperate, and I looked to the gun in my head, and I told him, I will never back. You want to kill us here. That's just like that. Because even when we back, we have no future, we have nothing, we have no house, everything destroyed, so we will die. I told him, I will never back. If you want to kill us here. I will never back. So the man, when he looked to me, and he looked to the kids and my wife, he say, okay, you can go. So he take us with the car, by the car to a camp. So I was a little bit, have troubles, and I have no job for 9 months. My job was just take my kids from the room that I live it to the garden, and back from the garden to my room. Just this is my job. And I was, just when you have no job and you have nothing to draw, no instruments to draw, so you are like a dead person. So I just buy some pencils that they are writing with, and I buy some white paper, and I draw in my room. It's a little bit small space, like 50 centimeters. I put the paper on the ground and I draw by these pencils. I have some paintings till now in my house. It was desperate art, dark art. But I am happy that I do something I like it. And in the middle of desperate and in the middle of nothing, I make my art. After 9 months from not finding job, I passed the border with the family, with my father-in-law, with my mother-in-law, with my wife's brothers, to the border of Syria, and we go to Iraq, Kurdistan, Iraq. We walk 10 kilometers, just 10 in the middle of summer. It was so hot weather. So hot. With the kids, with the whole family, we walk like, I don't remember, 6 hours, 10 hours, just we walk, without stopping. Because of the walking, my father-in-law was died after 1 week when we reached. So we bury him in Kurdistan because we couldn't bring him to Syria. My sister-in-law, she sent an invitation to us, to the Swiss embassy, and they gave us the visa to the whole family, and we come by the plane. I think Switzerland, I will be thankful for them because my family now, they are safe. Another side, my Ausweis is not helping because I can't go outside Switzerland. I'm not allowed. I make exhibition in United States, in Germany, in Sweden, but I have to send my painting by the post. So the problem, the challenge is that I have to live from my art, and it's a little bit difficult because art is depend on a lot of things, luck, contact, people who like your art. But I'm do a good art. I'm professional. I pass in my life very, very hard moments. And even before the war, I was prisoner for 6 months because I was speaking Kurdish language. And I suffered too much in my life because life is destroyed me from inside. It's sometimes when you have damaged in your body or in your head, wounds in your all places broken, it's possible to become a little bit better, but when the damage is from inside, it's difficult to fix it. So because of that, I would like to show the people the deepness of the soul, the pain, things people couldn't talk about it, couldn't explain it to the others. So my mission, my inspiration also is the humans. The humans not from outside, the humans from the soul, from inside, the broken souls. The people who nobody care about them.